This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
A good National Small Business Week to you, and welcome to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. If you want to be an entrepreneur, this is your hour. I'm Scott Sander. If you're watching us for the first time, this is not your typical business show. Each week we present 7 stories focusing on things you'll need to know to launch or expand your business plan. We'll start with getting started, tips on acquiring capital, accounting and bookkeeping, running your business, and then we wrap things up with a success story. You'll hear from business professionals, community leaders, our own team of experts, all sharing experiences, highs and lows, so you can learn to build and grow your company. We're here every Sunday morning on Wish TV and streaming on wishtv.com. You can see much of our content and share it on demand as well. BEOshow.com is the site. Our site grows every week with new stories and resources. While you're there, sign up for our podcast so you can listen anytime, anywhere at your convenience. We also encourage you to sign up for our newsletter that we update every Tuesday. Let's get to the business of business. Here's what's coming up today on Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Matt Murphy gives us tips in the topic he knows best, access to capital. This week in business, we continue our discussion with the head of InnoPower about a big upcoming event. CPA Courtney Kincaid tells us which financial documents to save. We're talking sustainability at the Speedway. And in our success story, find out some National Small Business Week activities that could help you. We get started with some useful information about getting started. Every journey begins with one step. If you're starting your own business, it could be an in-step.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
Roger Howard is the Senior Manager of Global Trade for the Indiana Economic Development Corporation.
So the InStep grant program is the Indiana State Trade and Export Promotion grant program. So it's a fairly new program to the state of Indiana. It launched in January of 2020, and it's a federal state-funded program. We receive funds from the U.S. Small Business Administration. The InStep grant program can be used for a number of what we call export-related activities. So at the top, that looks like trade shows, trade missions, and trade shows aren't just international. So it's not just attending a trade show in Germany, but companies are also eligible to attend domestic trade shows so long as there's a international buyer-seller component, and one of the primary reasons a company is going is to make international sales. But also when it comes to compliance testing and certification for your product, website globalization, there's a whole host of activities, and if there's something that currently isn't stated or listed within our program mandate, we're always happy to have that conversation with the business just to see what might make sense for them in exploring export opportunities. There's a lot of back and forth in terms of, trade and investment is a two-way street, and, this is on our side of what we're doing is engaging with international partners to really elevate the Hoosier companies we have here to explore the opportunities around the world. So it's not just bringing investment here and engaging with the companies, overseas, but also where can we take our companies here and showcase them to the world. We support a ton of small businesses across the state. I mean, when we look at our larger corporations, they make a good chunk of, economic development and our trade numbers, but what we're really trying to aim for is supporting the smaller businesses, because that's where a lot of the growth is projected, where a lot of employment comes from. That's correct. It's not just 100 employees, it's not just a certain amount of revenue, it can be either or. And businesses can identify, and what we use to identify what is a small business is the U.S. Small Business Administration's data based on the North America Industry Classification Code. So businesses can declare what that is to best suit their business, but that's how we base it. So it would be either by employment numbers, revenue, but it's not really super defined. Historically, the IEDC has never really worked with businesses on trade or exports. It's been focused on international, but that's more of a foreign direct investment realm. So when we're looking at trade, this is a great tool to get businesses out there. Indiana is a rich exporting state. We rank, as the U.S. Department ranks us, 13th of all 50 states. So how do we support our small businesses across industry sectors? This is one way to do it. And the mechanics of the program are businesses are able to receive a 80% reimbursement on eligible expenses not to exceed $15,000 annually per calendar year, so January 1st, December 31st. And businesses have been able to utilize that for the last several years, and it's really made a difference in terms of, and we track metrics on employment, revenue from exports, and we've had a lot of great success. And I know we've collected testimonials from businesses, and some are repeat clients because they see the benefits of the program and what it can help them do. The state, we applied for federal funds, but we also match that with state funding as well. So the idea is to keep it around as long as we can, but and our application's open online for businesses now, and we look forward to having funding available in the future for businesses to participate through the program. We work with businesses whether they've been exporting for 50 years or they're new to export, and we're happy to have the conversation to make sure the program fits for them. And we work in hand with our federal partners at the US SBA, the US Department of Commerce, so we're really working off each other to find the right clients. But if there's something, if we don't think you're ready for the program yet, we'll make sure that you're getting the resources to help kind of set an export strategy plan in place, and the Indiana Small Business Development Center is great for that as well. So I would be the first point of contact, and we have a web page for the InStep grant program, and we're happy to have that conversation. When you think about where the share of the marketplace is and where consumers are, the U.S. makes a very small percent in the global scheme of things. Most of the world's consumers are out there in Europe, Asia, Africa, and there's growing resources for businesses to really explore those markets. So it can be daunting. There's a lot of compliance pieces that go into exporting sometimes. So that's why we welcome a conversation, just to see where your business is at, where we can set a plan for the future, and what makes sense for your product, your industry, your service, whatever else, because you're missing part of the growth that's out there for global consumers. I see a lot of opportunity. Indiana's become a very innovative state. We have a lot of, I work with entrepreneurs every day that have truly unique and innovative products. I have to kind of stop and think, wow, that's being produced or made here in the state. So I think the resources are here. There's an appetite to get out there to have the state lead on trade and exporting, and we're doing that right now. So I think there's no better time to really take that opportunity, especially when we have the resources available to utilize and see what's out there.
Getting started, made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation.
If you'd like to learn more about the InStep program and if it can help you get started, find some links at beoshow.com. If you'd like to ask a question or appear on our show, send us an email, beo@wishtv.com. Up next, Matt Murphy back with some tips on gaining access to capital. You're watching Business Equity and Opportunity.
Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.
Welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Time for our weekly treasure hunt for future entrepreneurs looking to gain access to capital.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Access to capital.
Matthew B. Murphy III is the co-founder and president of Emboss Partners, a firm offering services in consulting and capital acquisition.
It starts with a very well-defined business plan. And the business plan is not a document that is to be thought of as something for outsiders. It is used and analyzed by outsiders like lenders, but it really is a management tool that the roadmap for where the business is and where it's going from here. I think that aids in bringing some credibility to the story that the business owner or the management team of the company is telling about where the company's going. And then secondly, how you've handled financial resources in the past. And therein lies a challenge for some business owners because personal credit sometimes, most of the time, is looked at as a direct indicator of how a small business in particular, is going to handle the extension of corporate credit. So, if there are challenges with credit, that needs to be explained. And there are ways to mitigate some of those challenges and concerns, but being forthcoming and indicating where there has been improvement, even when the credit score itself doesn't reflect, the kind of improvement that the lender would like to see. And then thirdly, I would say is having a team of good people around the business, both internally and externally. So a good CPA firm as an external partner for the accounting of the business. Possibly a good business lawyer for contracts and other legal documents that need to be reviewed on behalf of the business. And a good management team, folks that bring strength to and discipline to the business in ways that maybe the owner, the entrepreneur, may not be able to by him or herself. So those are some of the things that I think make a big difference in whether or not it's an attractive lending opportunity for a financial institution. If you have a track record in business and you're a mature company, you've got fewer challenges than I think when you're a startup company, large or small. But I think access to capital has challenge to either of those two types of profile businesses. And I think the more capital you've attracted in the past, the more your track record lends itself to having lenders be favorable in terms of their view of your ability to handle capital that's structured for repayment over time. Small businesses face the challenge that when they have not been very active in the past with borrowing large sums of money for growth and expansion, then that track record is not as developed, and so the question becomes, can the company handle the financial resources that are being deployed to them, and can they repay it in a timely way as structured, and not only repay the capital that is lent, but the return on the investment, which is interest on borrowed funds. Growth eats capital, okay? So if you're growing as a company, that means you're paying more people, you're buying more stuff, whether that's inventory or supplies or whatever your business or service is, and it requires capital. So the trick is to be able to show that by growing, that there is a return on the investment of the business to grow, and therein lies additional profitability and opportunities for not only, again, the repayment of debt, but also, to make all of those other things worthwhile in terms of the investment. So why grow if you can't afford to grow? And getting big for big sake is not necessarily smart. Getting bigger for reasons like you want more market share and the market share is to be had. And we being the management team have done a good job of understanding what the market is and where the market is and where it's going, and lenders are going to be looking to the owners of the business and the management team to prove that out, both in the story and in the business plan and the financials that are presented. So I think all of that ties together, that at the end of the process, the bank's return on investment is met through the repayment of the principal and interest of the loan. The owner's investment in the growth prospect of the business is met with a more profitable company. Salaries and wages are kept up or even ahead of market, and the assets that are needed for the business to deliver its products and services to the market are being able to be acquired and then put to the market. So, I mean, it's a cycle.
If you'd like to know more about accessing capital, look through past segments and links, go to our website. It's beoshow.com. Coming up later, CPA Courtney Kincaid is back with tips on saving your financial records. After the break, though, it's This Week in Business, after we do some business too. Welcome again. It is time for This Week in Business on Business Equity and Opportunities. Last week, we spoke to the head of InnoPower, Emil Ekiyor, about this year's Minority Business Conference. It went so well, we needed 2 weeks to fit it all in. Here's the rest of our conversation.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
I'm reminded you were one of our early contributors to Business Equity and Opportunities, and much like I'm guessing with the conference, we were and still are very much a work in progress, figuring out, okay, how can we best serve the community? It feels like there are a lot of overlaps between the two. Do you see sort of areas where you're like, yeah, that's what we want to do?
First of all, I think the Business Equity for Indy show is simply amazing. The timing for the show with where the city is and where the city is headed, the way that show also helps us differentiate our city from other cities. We have a city that on the west side of town, we have over 800 businesses in the international marketplace. We have more and more young minority professionals moving to the city. The show allows us a space to share those things. It gives people a chance to see some of the things that some of these executives never had a platform to come talk. It amazed me when I sit down and talk to leaders who I thought, for sure, you could go talk anywhere, and come to find out they don't have platforms. So all of a sudden now we have this Business Equity for Indy show that gives this platform for everyone to say that, look, we have an amazing city, we have a diverse city, and it's going to continue to grow and be diverse. We have a city for people outside the city that may watch the show and say, wow, that seems like the kind of place I want to go work in and live and raise a family. We never had those optics before. So as much as we say years ago, CICF came out with the Inclusive City movement, and that was great, but there was nothing to really help amplify and back that up. Years later, you guys started the Business BE&O show, and that gives credence to being an inclusive city, because now you can show how the city is becoming inclusive. So from the very beginning, we saw that and we love the concept of it. We love how the show has continued to grow. We love the consistency of the message, right? Because when we talk about affecting hearts and minds, those are the kind of things that need to happen, and people need to see that may not be available or may not have access to these communities. But now they have something to watch weekly that shares that also takes away some of the negative connotations that come up about certain things that happen in Indy. So I love the message of opportunity from the show. It gives people hope. I see minority professionals who feel like, man, I just got to get on that show to get my message on, because now I've arrived. And that never was the case in the city. So as we continue to grow a diverse city, as we continue to share the story of Indianapolis, the show and BE&O and the consistency of the show gives so much credibility to that message. Because you can't recruit talent from Houston to move to Indianapolis and you tell them all this and then say, well, let's go see what's happening in Indianapolis. Well, what do they watch? Now they have something to tune into to say, wow, Indy has some amazing minority professionals. They have minority businesses. They're trying to create this environment to support minorities. And that never existed. And it doesn't exist in a lot of cities around the country. So sometimes we take things for granted too here, right? So we love the concept. We love that we have access. And we just want to do our part to make sure it's not a show that comes and goes, right? We want to make sure that this is the fabric of our community.
And to that end, is that one of the reasons why you want your conference to not be go into a ballroom, close the door, only the people in that room are part of it, but rather make it something that people can consume wherever they are, as long as they can find, even if it's in a library, to find access?
Exactly. We want people to say, wow, we want to do what they're doing in Indianapolis, right? If we did it just 300 people in a room, the message stays there. The message of our conference now flies, it travels, and also is archived, right? It lives forever. So the partnership is great for us. The fact that we can have that partnership, we don't take that for granted. We don't take it for granted that a 4-year-old business like ours can work and partner with an organization like WISH and Circuit City Broadcasting, what you guys are doing nationally. So we say only in Indy, right?
For now.
For now. But no, we love it, and we do our part to encourage and just listening to people talk around the city. I think more people are embracing and understanding, wow, this is so different in Indianapolis. So we thank Dewan and what he's done here and what he's brought to the city.
This Week in Business is made possible by InnoPower.
Also this week in business, celebrate National Small Business Week through the 6th. Several events out there, including one, a roadmap to small business, an in-person experience. Wednesday at the John Bonner Community Center in Indianapolis. Event's free, but you need to make reservations. To do that and learn about other local events, go to BEOshow.com. Tuesday is primary election day, lots of local ballot issues that directly affect small business. If you're holding a business-related event that you'd like us to mention here on the show, email us at beo@wishtv.com. Up later, sustainability at the Speedway. Next, though, a certified public accountant weighs in on what to do with financial records. Business Equity and Opportunities will return in about 95 seconds.
Grow your business with Wish TV's featured business directory. For less than $200 a month, be one of the limited businesses in 30 different categories, benefiting from one of the top visited websites in Indiana and Indiana's only statewide news station. Space is limited. Contact us today.
Welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities. Time for our weekly look at accounting and bookkeeping. For many of us, it's tough to feel confident about whether we hold on to our financial records too long enough, or hold on to them far too long. For the right answer, you can ask your CPA.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, accounting and bookkeeping.
Courtney Kincaid is the CEO and president of the Indiana Society of CPAs.
When it comes to document retention, there are a lot of considerations beyond just what you should keep and really thinking about how you should keep it. Coming up with a system that's documented and well understood is critical for business continuity and growth of small businesses. And so when we talk about document retention, we think about various considerations, right? Paper versus electronic. In the post-COVID world, I would say it is much more common that we have paperless environments, which lends itself to a lot of convenience, right? Able to access it anywhere you need to access it. Reliability, usually there is a lot of redundancy that you couldn't have with a paper in a box. At the same time, that can sometimes be costly for small businesses, and sometimes small businesses lack the equipment to digitize documents in the way they need to be digitized in order to meet requirements. It's important that you work with a CPA or professional to understand what record retention requirements might be for certain organizations or entities. When it comes to what you should keep related to taxes, there's a lot of different advice out there. The IRS suggests both individuals and businesses keep all returns in related documents. So if it's documented anywhere on that return, the support for that line should be kept with the return. They say indefinitely. We don't necessarily see our professionals, our CPAs, keeping every document forever. And their guidance really does revolve around the audit from the IRS. The IRS has 3 years to audit a return in general. They also, however, have the ability to do it at any point in time. And so that's where the indefinitely comes from. But by and large, those audits are within a 3-year period. So at a minimum, if you have documentation, you're going to want to keep it 3 years from the date you filed. With taxes, that's the federal return. You also have a state return, and you have different requirements by locality. So you want to check with your local area. Your CPA would be aware of what that is to know what the retention policy is there. Your CPA firm also maintains your records for a certain amount of time. So it's a good idea at the beginning of an engagement to talk about what their record retention policy is. As the Indiana CPA Society, we have members of the public contact us frequently about record retention policy and who owns their return and how they can get their return from their CPA. Each case is a little bit different and there are nuances to it. So we have an ethics hotline that we refer all of those calls to. So when we get a consumer question about record retention from their CPA, what we can do is put them in contact with a member of ours who's on the ethics committee that's a little bit more nuanced in those details and can provide assistance.
For more accounting and bookkeeping tips or any of our topics, visit beoshow.com. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter that we update every Tuesday and subscribe to our Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. Listen whenever you want. Coming up, it's our industry focus. It's on our industry and our effort to bring more diversity into newsrooms. Next, though, IndyCar goes green. Stay with us. Welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Time for running your business day to day. May starts tomorrow. In Indianapolis, that means racing, of course. But this May, green flags are not the only green at the track.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Running your business day to day.
Doug Bowles is the president of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He shares some of the ways the track is becoming more earth-friendly.
you think about racing, it's not the first thing that comes to your mind is sustainability, and it's something that really over the last several years we've focused on, but even this year more so. So when folks come to the racetrack, the NTT IndyCar Series cars have a big green Buckeye where the fuel goes in. That fuel is 100% renewable race fuel. The trucks that deliver the cars, not just in Indianapolis, but around the country when we go racing, that diesel fuel they use is renewable fuel, and that's something that we started doing last year. Actually, last year, one of the things we put in at the Speedway for those trucks is we have a recharging station there. We've been experimenting with bringing our Firestone tires, which have a renewable element as well. We're experimenting with bringing those in, not through your traditional internal combustion engine, but through battery-powered trucking. So we're trying to experiment and then pass that from us to the teams that go on the road as well as the things we do at the racetrack. We've been in contact with Keep Indianapolis Beautiful for a long, long time. It's been a relationship that's really important to us. They've helped as almost a consultant to us as we start thinking about tree replenishment, what we're doing at the golf course. But last year, they created this really cool biodiversity study for us where we really looked at the natural species that use the Indianapolis Motor Speedway property as their home. So plants, insects, animals, and over 200 species that call the Indianapolis Motor Speedway home. So we've baselined that so we know how to protect them, but also how to encourage the growth inside those 1,000 acres we have. And then when we get an opportunity to do things like plant trees around our community and really support them in a way that they're supporting us, is something that's really special for us. One simple thing that really gets me excited is recycling. And you think about 300,000 people come to the Speedway. It used to be that we talked about, look at all the trash that's around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway when people have left, which really started us thinking about, well, that shouldn't be there. How do we encourage our fans to engage in recycling? So last year was the first year we had about 1,000 recycling bins and trash bins around. We encourage people, split your stuff up, let's recycle stuff, let's put our trash where it belongs. That's the one thing that's gotten me the most excited, because I can't believe how many of our fans we're thankful that we are actually making an effort to do that. But then even going beyond that, so we're thinking about how are we composting, how are we thinking about using rooftops at some point in time as maybe a way to drive some solar energy to power some of the facilities at the Speedway. So I think you'll see a lot of that change, but the thing that gets me most excited is we've now engaged with our customer, those 300,000 people, and said, hey, when you're at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, let's make a difference as a collective group and recycle what we bring into the Speedway. The other thing that we've done that really connects with our fans is when they renew their tickets, there's that 500-hour window that we want people to renew their tickets. We've given them the option to check a little box and help us make a donation to offset some of their carbon footprint as they're driving in. And again, that last year was the first year we've done that, and I've been amazed at the interest and excitement that our fans have that they can help contribute to that just through a little checkbox on renewing their tickets. The Bike to the 500 program is something that started out as a way to engage our community, to start looking at the rails to trails. We've got some great rails to trails in our community, as well as trying to find a way to offset some of the cars that were coming. It solves a parking problem. It solves obviously a carbon problem when you're driving those cars. And that's become one of our most popular initiatives. Hundreds and hundreds of people actually come. Andrew Luck, when he comes to the Indy 500, rides his bike from downtown to the Indy 500, and that's been really special. We give a special parking spot for those people that want to bike, so we encourage people, bike to the 500, and at first, I wasn't exactly sure how it would go over, but it's amazing to me now how many people I run into who say that's their way to get to the Speedway now. They bike, they come down the Monon and cut their way over. It's become a big deal, and it's part of the tradition that a lot of people have put into place when they come to the Indy 500.
If you want to learn more about the Speedway's green initiatives, visit beoshow.com for the links. Later, we wrap up our broadcast by meeting a small business owner who just won a big award. Next, though, how we're growing our industry one new voice at a time. Stay with us.
Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. Time for our industry focus. MMPP, 4 letters that mean a lot at Circle City Broadcasting. They stand for Multicultural Media Producer Program. This week's Industry Focus looks at what that means and what it could mean to you. Here's Lena Pringle.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
Wish TV is proud to launch a new program for anyone interested in becoming a news and media producer. It's called Multicultural Media Producing Program, or MMPP. The special 1-year degree program is open to all students and will be based right here in Indianapolis. The DeJuan and Tina McCoy Foundation, Circle City Broadcasting, Ivy Tech Community College, Indianapolis, and JP Morgan Chase are making this all possible. Ivy Tech will be the first college in the country to create this type of program. The National Association Broadcasters Leadership Foundation and CBS News and Stations have jumped on board with their support. So joining me now to talk more about this whole initiative, we have Stephanie Gostomski, who is the Vice President and Regional Communications of JP Morgan Chase, and Amanda Owen Pride, who's the Department Chair for the School of Arts, Sciences, and Education at Ivy Tech Community College in Indianapolis. So ladies, after that long intro, thank y'all so much for joining us this morning to talk about this new initiative. So Stephanie, starting off with you, why is this commitment so important?
Well, thank you so much for having us. We're so excited to be a part of this pilot program. At JP Morgan Chase, many people know us for our banking. You know, we proudly have 1,400 people that work for JP Morgan Chase in Indianapolis. We have the 50 branches, but we have to go beyond that, right? When we think about corporate responsibility, we know that we have a responsibility to strengthen our communities, but we can't do it alone. So when our great partners locally at Ivy Tech and Wish TV tells us there's a lack of diversity in the newsroom, and we have a plan to make a difference, JP Morgan Chase is going to be there, and we're so excited to be a part of this pilot program that's going to expand well beyond Indianapolis into newsrooms across America. We're just so proud to be a part of this initiative.
And you know, you slightly hit on it in your last answer, but how will this partnership help to promote that diversity in the workforce?
Right, we know that a diverse workforce is a strong workforce. So to enable the initiative to bring in these talented individuals and educate this pool of talented individuals that'll take their knowledge and their skills to newsrooms across America, it's just the right solution to a problem that was identified by the experts here in market. You know, at JP Morgan Chase in 2020, we committed $30 billion to help Black, Hispanic, and Latino communities thrive and for future generations to thrive. And this is just one example of many across the country where we're making that investments in markets to help.
And you know, Amanda, swinging it back to the students, so now that we have the backgrounds about how this is being funded, how it's helping, what can the students expect from this program? How long does it last? Kind of break down what that looks like from the educational standpoint.
Absolutely. So the students will complete 9 courses over the span of 32 weeks, with breaks of course, and they will also engage in a 16-week internship on site here at Wish TV, so they're getting that hands-on experience as well. And at the conclusion of those courses, they will have earned the Ivy Tech certificate in professional and community communications.
And you know, we've already kind of hit on what are some of the goals, but especially with Ivy Tech being involved in this, what do you think the overall goal of this new program would be for the students and the organization?
The goal is really twofold. First off, it's to give opportunities to underserved populations to move into leadership ranks in media production that they've historically not been able to be in. Secondly, we're looking to produce a pipeline of underserved communities of multicultural media producers that can then go out into the United States as media producers anywhere that they choose to.
Perfect. Well, thank you all so much. A very layered initiative, and it's great that we were able to get this information out so that people know how to get involved. And if you do want to know more about the Multicultural Media Producing Program, just grab your phone, scan that QR code. It's right on your screen. It will take you to the As Seen On section of wishtv.com, where you can look for this story. We do have posted links on how to apply. And so, Stephanie and Amanda, before we leave, any last words about why this initiative and program can really help people, not only just here in Indianapolis, but around the country?
Yeah, well, we're just so thankful to be a part of this pilot program. We really believe in the work being done here in Indianapolis, and we know it's going to make a difference, not only here, but at TV stations across the country. So we're just proud to be a part of it and looking forward to what's going to come for years to come out of this program.
And we're excited to partner with JP Morgan Chase and Circle City Broadcasting to present students with opportunities that they might not have otherwise thought were realistic for them and help their dreams come true if they are interested in working in this field.
Helping give students options,
Absolutely.
which is key as we continue to move forward in this day and age. So thank you, ladies, so much for joining us this morning.
For more information on the new program, look for links. BEOshow.com is the site. Up next, our success story. We meet a small business owner who, with a little help from a big organization, is finding his own path for success. Find out how you can then follow in his footsteps. Stay with us. One of our favorite moments on Business Equity and Opportunities. As we've mentioned, today starts National Small Business Week. Lots of activities planned, including the naming of the Person of the Year from the Indiana Small Business Association. Name's Haskell, but you can call him Danny. Danny Portee.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities Success Story.
Stacy Pointer is the district director of the Indiana Small Business Association.
It is National Small Business Week coming up, starting this Sunday, April 30th, all the way through Saturday, May 6th. This is a really big celebration. We have a couple webinars on Tuesday, one focusing on loans, one focusing on contracting. Here in the Indianapolis area on Wednesday at the Bonner Center, we're offering a roadmap to small businesses, which kind of goes to the whole day from like 9 to 3 at the Bonner Center. So if you're local in Indianapolis, I suggest you come out. The Filipino Community Center on Saturday, May the 6th, I'll be out there kind of doing an SBA, what we call SBA 101, just describing what SBA does. We'll be starting that at 1 o'clock. So a lot of things going on throughout the state. Well, there's over 500,000 small businesses in Indiana. Over 99% of the businesses are small. 2 out of 3 net new jobs are created by small business. They are the lifeblood, we like to say the engine, of course, here in Indiana, the engine of the economy. So we want to make sure we celebrate those folks each and every day, but especially a special focus. Every year since 1964, the President of the United States has declared 1 week out of the year to celebrate small businesses. So that's what National Small Business Week is all about. So we're giving awards out, our 8A Graduate of the Year. So 8A is a contracting program. If you want to do business with the federal government, we help you navigate that. There's a program called the 8A, and that's what some of our trainings are about, our workshops about how to do that. So we're doing our 8A Graduate of the Year, Jesse Camacho from locally here in Central Indiana. We're doing our Exporter of the Year. So, believe it or not, over 90% of the customers are outside the United States. And so how do you sell outside the United States? We help with that. So we have our Exporter of the Year, B. Nutty, up from the Lake County area. And then we have PME, which is our Small Business Person of the Year, Danny Portier. Just a great story locally here in Indianapolis.
So I'm Danny Porte, the President and CEO of Professional Management Enterprises, Inc., headquartered in Indianapolis, Indiana, where we've been in business now for 17 years as a professional services company. We provide staff augmentation support services for human capital, information technology, healthcare, call center staffing nationwide. Small business programs are very important and vital for the educational success and health of your organization or any organization. So the SBA for me helped me start, helped me grow, helped me expand, and also helped me recover during COVID.
Danny is a great success story. He didn't know what he wanted to do when he came back out of the service. And, he started this small business and just kind of grew, kind of got involved with SBA early on, got into our 8A program and really grew. he just has a passion for small business, but he has a passion for giving back. And he really helps to mentor other small businesses. Anytime we ask him to be a part of training to other small businesses, he's right there, very passionate about what he does, and well deserved. Can't wait to honor him with our Small Business Person of the Year. And he's in the running for the National Small Business Person of the Year. So he'll get to go to Washington, D.C. on Sunday and Monday, and hopefully we'll see. Hopefully he's at least a finalist and maybe a chance to be our National Small Business Person of the Year. That would be very exciting. We're here for the whole life cycle. So if you're just thinking about starting a business, we can kind of help you navigate those waters. We work with some great resource partners. Our Small Business Development Center, which is a partnership with the state of Indiana, as well as local universities and chambers. Our SCORE chapters, which are volunteers that are donating their time. They've either retired or they're executives in business that can kind of give their expertise. We have our 2 women's business centers, one here in Indianapolis, one in Fort Wayne. They do a fantastic job of providing counseling as well. So if you're just thinking about starting a business, those are great sources that we can refer you to. If you're looking to scale up your business, we have a program right now. We're actually recruiting right now called Thrive to take your business to the next level. So if you've been in business for a couple years and you're just kind of stagnant, folks get so busy working inside their business, they don't think about working on their business long term. So we can help you with that. Again, this is a great free program, free from a perspective of cost, not from a perspective of time. We expect you to put a lot of time into this to work on growing your business to the next level. If you're thinking about exiting your business, we can have you talk to some folks about that as well. So a great opportunity there. We have access to capital, so if you're looking, needing loans, we can help you navigate those waters. I already mentioned about selling to the federal government. We can help you navigate those contracting waters. So there's a lot of different resources that are available to you for free. Yes, you could probably go online and do some search and find some folks that are trying to charge you for that. A lot of those services are available for free from the U.S. Small Business Administration. This is what we want to do. We want to honor them, and that's why, again, every year that we go through this special week, this is to point it out. We try to honor them every day here at the Small Business Administration, but we want to make sure on a grander national scale that we realize that they are the lifeblood of the economy. Without small businesses, there would not be business. They have to start somewhere, and we're here to help them do that.
That's Business Equity and Opportunities for this week. Our sincere thanks to everybody who shared an experience with us. If you need more information about anything you saw on the show today, find links on our website, beoshow.com. You can also find past segments of the show from each of our 7 weekly topics. Listen and subscribe to our Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. It's part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. Sign up for the newsletter that we update every Tuesday. If you have questions of your own, or if you have your own success story to share with us, send us an email, beo@wishtv.com. We're here every Sunday morning on Wish TV and streaming wishtv.com, and we'll be back next week with more Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Have a good Sunday and a great National Small Business Week.
Business Equity and Opportunities is made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, InnoPower, Bose McKinney & Evans, and Gemco.